Hello, most beautifully divine spirits of love and light. How are you? I'm coming to you from the mountaintops, one of the many mountaintops of the world, of course. But I'm here in California, in Chatsworth. My phone is going to die, so I was doing a little bit too much writing and picture taking, and I thought I was coming up here to deliver a message from Spirit specifically about the Twin Flame Collective, but I was also called up here to spend some time with myself and get connected with Spirit and myself. And it's so important for self-care to prioritize your peace and prioritize your peace of mind, because once you have peace of mind and you're settled and still inside is when you can truly hear the whispers from Spirit that your spirit guides that are guiding you essentially to where you are always destined to be. It's like our future selves are guiding us essentially, and our spirit guides are us. They're just in discarnate form, so you don't have to go out there looking or searching for them. Or I know when I was initially on my twin flame spiritual awakening journey, I would just like completely devour and be obsessed with YouTube videos about spirit guides and ascension and the awakening. And of course you want to get as much information as possible, but it's also really important to know that all of the wisdom is inside of you, and that ties in perfectly with what's been going on with my twin flame connection. Every time I go through a bout of doubt, I get really saddened, and it's really heart-wrenching. But every time through that suffering, another the chambers of my heart burst open completely. So through that suffering, I feel like I can see more deeply the bigger picture. And the bigger picture in this sense is not that we're in separation, because we're transcending the idea of separation, because we're always connected to our twin. Even if we don't know our twin or not, we all have a twin. There's only one twin, and we all have one. And they are everything to us. They are our guides, they are our love, they are our protection, even though it sometimes doesn't feel like it. But we're in human form trying to figure out what love is and how to best give and receive love. And through the breaking down of the heart space, through those heartbreaks, we become more and more pure, because we know from your twin flame that unconditional love is the purity of love. It's the non-judgment. And sometimes our egos get in the way and we get upset, and it's not that we're judging our twins, it's just that we see an aspect of ourselves in them that we haven't yet worked out. And if we haven't yet worked it out, they probably haven't worked it out either. So we're both working on it in tandem with each other, and it's all for our highest good. And so my twin and I are working on fully embodying our higher selves and trusting our higher selves enough to allow the force of the high vibrations to there's ants all over this rock. Allow the force of these higher vibrations to continue to uplift us and transcend us to the point at which we were always meant to be. It's like the zenith. We don't see that perfection, that idyllic peak in which we're all gravitating towards, but it is there, and we have to continue to have faith and trust that we are being guided, divinely guided, and we must continue to align with love and move forth through love. As I was walking the path today, as I was getting to the top, I was really tired, and that was really symbolic of how the ascension feels. Like you're elevating, and you have to take time to stop and breathe, take time to recalibrate and kind of get your energies in order and kind of process everything. And in the midst of it, you can kind of stop and admire the view, but you're like, I still want to go higher. This isn't the end. I know this isn't the end. It can't be the end, because there is no end. So you just continue and continue to transcend from within, and then it's reflected without. And as I was continuing to go to the top, I just felt my twin here with me, because he invited me to traverse up the mountaintops with him, which is what we're essentially doing on this ascension path. And so it was very symbolic and very beautiful. Even though we're not sharing this together in the physical, I know that he is there with me, and we are experiencing this together no matter what. But unfortunately, my ego is a little disheartened that we couldn't. But we couldn't because we still, I feel like we still have one more really big karmic lesson to learn through someone else. And that goes for both of us. I don't know what it is, but I know it's a really intense blockage that we have to heal before we can fully be together in union in the physical. And the reason that my twin ended up cutting off contact was because actually it's multifaceted, and I'm sure there's many reasons on both ends, but I'm just highlighting this in particular because I'm trying to delve more into our past lives together, and I think there's one in particular that I'm trying to figure out so that we can heal this blockage. So I was on my way to the beach yesterday, and I'm just trying to build up the story so that everybody can be in tune to what's happening, and I really hope my phone doesn't die, because this is a good story. It's an interesting story. So I was on my way to Malibu to go and record a poem in homage to my twin flame connection. And as I drove up there, a coyote ran in front of my car, and I nearly hit it. And I was like, oh my God, what if I would have killed that coyote? That would have been devastating. And as I mentioned in my previous video, coyotes are a synchronicity betwixt me and my twin. So every time I see one, I automatically think of him. But usually I see coyotes at the cemetery, or I seen one in Malibu, but it was already dead. But I never had one run in front of my car. And then I just kind of smiled, and I was like, thank you, universe, for sending me that synchronicity. I'm on the right path. Thank you so much. And then as I was leaving, after recording, I was driving in the mountains, headed home, and then another coyote ran right in front of my car, and I nearly hit it. And I'm like, okay, what are you trying to say, Spirit? What are you trying to get me to tune into? And I wasn't going to contact my twin that day because I was trying to give him space. I don't want to overwhelm him, and we had already been in a small bout of separation. So I just said I'm just going to wait for him to reach out. If he wants to reach out, he will. But I was actually the one that backed off, because I was getting really just weighed down by the fact that I knew I was not the only one in his life, and he was juggling many things, and he was in need of trying to balance out and make a choice, to follow his heart wherever it may want to be led. It may not always be me in that moment, but it's really important that he makes a choice, because I can't be anyone's second option anymore, or second thought. I'm at a point where I deserve to be a priority. I prioritize myself first, of course, but I also deserve a love that is filled with devotion and care and honesty and truth and purity. So it will be tainted. It wouldn't be pure if there was, so many things pulling at his energy, his heart space, his heartstrings. I just wouldn't be getting the fullness of his being, and that's actually what I desire in truth. Because we're here on a mission to do something really important, which I haven't aligned with completely yet. But I know it once our gifts are pushed forth to the surface, and we align with those gifts, we will align with each other in our mission. So in any event, the second coyote ran in front of my car, and I'm just like, I got to tell my twin, because these synchronicities, it's really important that we share it, so that we can, so that he can make sure he's keeping his mind's eye open when things like that do happen, so he can stay in touch with spirit, because I know he has a lot going on in the physical, as far as manifesting things and making his creations come to life. So sometimes he's not always able to connect to spirit, which is why we balance each other out in that way. So I reached out to him, and I told him that it almost felt like the coyotes were trying to commit suicide. Like it's like they were, I was so close to hitting them, and it wasn't like I wanted to hit them. It was almost like they ran out as soon as my car came. So the timing was nothing short of a close near-death experience. Like I could have killed them, and that really hurt me. It was like so scary because seeing anything die, and me being a part of the reason that's really, it's really hard to bear. But in any event, I texted him and I let him know that I saw the coyotes, and it reminded me of him, of course. And I was like, it just felt like they were trying to commit suicide. And I feel like it's connected to the fact that we are, in a symbolic, really deep way, we are in a sense committing suicide because we're killing off a part of ourselves that we once thought that we were, so that we can move into this connection and move into this new life force energy that wants to move through us. So in that way, yes, we are committing suicide. It's very true on a spiritual suicide, a purposeful, intentional suicide for our highest good. And it's and then I went on further, deeper, because I hear a whistling. The wind is whistling to me, is speaking to me. It's getting fainter, but the wind was just whistling to me. Yes, and then so 30 minutes later, I went deeper into that feeling. I embodied it enough to try to figure it out, and I was, something came to me where it's like, either in a past life, I physically committed suicide, or he physically committed suicide, or it's a premonition, a symbolic premonition for the future that one of his many women, one of his many romantic counterparts, may feel like they're spiritually committing suicide without knowing it. Or it could, I don't want to speak this, I do not like speaking negative things into existence, but the way that he has a hold over these women's hearts, because he doesn't have a hold over his own, the way that they feel as if he is their everything, if he was to pull away from that, they would feel like committing suicide. It's no question. I already know, because the depth of the way, you can see it through social media, because everyone's just posting their feelings and stuff, and I'm not social media stalking or doing anything like that. Sometimes I just check on it to see what's going on, because people give updates about their feelings, and I can always tell when it's in tandem to him, because I can feel him, and I feel when someone's speaking through him from an experience with him, and it's that simple. And so I feel like it's kind of a forewarning, as well as an understanding from a past life that we shared together, so that we can work through this feeling of knowing that we don't need multiple sources of, I'm not even going to go deeper into that because it hasn't unfolded completely yet. But in any event, when I told him that it's a premonition or a past life thing about romantic partners, about our relationship with romantic counterparts falling off, basically karmic cycles ending, he blocked me. And I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it. I don't know, it was a weird thing. I think because I'm trying to trust my intuition, and deep down inside I expected it, but I also didn't expect it. And it was confusing because he blocked me previously, but then he blocked me again, so then technically he never blocked me. I don't even think I'm blocked technically, but I'm going to take this blocking thing as a means by which to send him telepathic communication, because I'm always trying to, work the situation for my highest good, for our highest good, for everyone's highest good, because getting sad about being blocked and stuff it's just not gonna work for us anymore. Like, we gotta make it work regardless. So everything is being worked out under the surface. And so it's important to send your divine masculine compassion right now, because in my previous separations, I was working on releasing all of my karmic attachments to soulmates that I had, and it was really difficult. It was really difficult because I found a piece of myself in them, and I never thought that I would find every piece of myself in someone else until I met him, and that's how I know they're not for me. they would reach out and ask me to go on dates and whatever, and I know it was going to lead to sex, and I don't want anybody touching me. I don't want anybody being intimate with me in that way. I'm not interested, and it's so weird because I used to be so interested. But as much as we would connect, the thing that I would look forward to most was the sex, and then the sex wasn't even that great in comparison to the sacred sex that I had with my twin, because sex with your twin is the closest you will get to having sex with yourself, in the sense that they know your body intuitively enough to energetically intertwine with your essence. And that's not something that could be fabricated. I mean, yes, you can tell somebody what you like and all that, but it's really different when somebody already knows, and then you just flow with it. Like, you just go with the flow and just like let go. Like, hold on, I'm gonna get out of my sensuality essence because it's been a while, but I learned to please myself now, so it's all right. But he's only 21, so I mean, if I was 21 and somebody was telling me this stuff, I don't know how I would have taken it, because I wasn't at this level of spirituality. But he also has a learning curve, because he came in here with a lot of knowingness that he doesn't even know that he knows yet. But I know that he knows, because when his higher self comes out, it's on point, and it's fabulous. It's at the pinnacle of pleasure. It's top notch, okay? So, in this space right now, I am working on past life patterns to break, as well as I feel like one more karmic connection. It's not a sexual connection. It's a lesson about communication. It's a lesson about knowing how to be a friend to a man without it always having to be sexual, because I've always seen men as objects, to be honest. I've always seen, like, what can I get out of this person? It wasn't like I was a user, but it was like there was no genuine, true feeling, true resonance betwixt us. So what else would I was trying to get sex. I'm sorry. I can't dance around the words anymore. I was horny and I was trying to get some sex. But I can make myself come way harder than any of those men ever could. So, but my twin, that's another story. And I think we're getting prepared for that kind of bliss, because the next time that we are in contact, it's going to be an ecstatic explosion. It's going to be sheer euphoria, and it's essential that we get our bodies, our minds, and our spirits prepared for it, because it's going to come. And I'm never going to give up on that notion. Like, you never give up on your dreams and your fantasies, because those are more real than the reality. We create our reality through enacting our dreams, and it's not enough to just believe in it. We have to do. So if you feel something, embody that emotion. Embody the emotion that's underlying it, and use that as the force to drive you towards where you are trying to go, and where you're essentially destined to be. And one more thing, going back to where I was before, as I was walking up the mountain there, I was getting closer to the top and I was out of breath, but I was like, just take a break, drink some water, and keep going. And as I kept going, there the path started to split off into multiple paths, which was symbolic, because I'm like, which path am I going to take? Am I going to take the easy path and just, settle into a comfortable existence like I was doing back then? Like, I would have my higher self come out and awaken, and then I would just shut it down, because I'm like, this is too much. Who is this person? I don't know who this person is. I've never existed from this level of consciousness. How am I supposed to carry this and embody this? I can't hold enough space for this amount of love and light inside of me. And if I'm feeling that way, know that your twin is feeling that some kind of way. Especially, I'm not even going to bring in age, because that's complicated, but if you're feeling some type of way, just know your twin is feeling some type of way on that kind of level. If not now, then in the future to come, because I feel like the women embody these experiences prior to the masculine, so that we can carry them through their light, their darkness into the light. And I told my masculine, I am not afraid of your shadow. I am not afraid of your darkness, because I am you. I've been through that before, and I will carry you and be there with you when you go through that, and when you have to detach from these people. And I will be patient and kind with you, because I would have loved for somebody to be patient and kind with me during that time, but I know I say that all the time, but that's in the past, so I better just stop saying this. It's a waste of breath. So as I was coming up the mountain, it split into multiple paths. I'm like, which one am I going to take? And immediately as I thought that, I saw a heart on the rock on one of the paths, and I was like, that's the one. That's the one. Am I going to follow love, or I'm going to, like, why wouldn't I follow love? I'm aligned with love. It's so symbolic, but it means so much. Like, little things mean so much, and you have to tune into those little things so that you can get to those big things. Spirit is always sending you messages. Spirit is always with you. So of course I followed the path through love, to love, with love as my guide. And I'm here at the mountaintop enjoying this blissful, deliciously decadent view with my candles lit and my flowers out. Man, this is so much better lighting than I was over here. Was it? But I just love this rocky viewpoint. It's really, really beautiful, and I'm really excited to share an experience like this with my twin when we're both ready. I know that sometimes we feel like we're ready, but there's always supernatural orchestrations going on right beneath the surface that we are unaware of, that are working for us. So just continue to keep the faith, continue to trust and have hope in what is to come for you. What is meant for you is going to be for you. What isn't meant for you is going to fall by the wayside, and you let it fall. You let it detach so that you can hold space for that which is for you. And I'm just so excited that the Twin Flame Collective is moving towards the purity of love, the purity of the heart, the trusting of our gifts, because Spirit gave each and every one of us beautifully unique gifts to share with the world. And when we trust in those gifts completely, the more that Spirit is allowed to work through us, and the more that additional gifts start to show up for us, just for us. And then as soon as we align with those gifts on an individual level, both you and your twin, there's two flies flying around each other. Reminds me of me and my twin. Reminds me of what we be going through. Okay. I crack myself. Oh, okay, now the fly is on me. He's like, yep, that's what you and your twin be going through. He left. I'm ashy. Sorry, guys. I really don't care. I don't care about lotion and stuff. I just, sometimes I feel like, am I masculine or feminine? Like, what's happening? Like, I'm both. Shoot, what was I saying? So yeah, once you align with your gifts individually, and it's like when you come into contact with your twin in the physical, it's like when you both really need it and you need some clarity, and then you both help each other to trust a part of yourselves to express to the world. It's like you give each other the ultimate confirmation through love. So it's such a gift when you come into contact. But then when you're not in contact, you have to continue to hold that trust and know that you can still do it without them always being there physically, consistently. And then that's when you trust yourself, you begin to align with your mission seamlessly on an individual level, and then you are able to align with your mission with your twin in divine timing. So I think that's that. I think that's all that wanted to be channeled through me in this moment in time. Thank you, Blessed Divine, for speaking through me. I'm just going to be here in my sacred shrine, and this is going to be a great time. So everything is fine, like I'm on a grind. Okay. Blessed be, beautifully divine souls. I'll put my contact information in the description below if you'd like to connect, or if anything resonated with you. And I send you the immensity of love and luminous light unto your hearts and souls. May you continue to be uplifted and align with the highest vibrations, so that you may ascend to the zenith of creation, the pinnacle of purity and profundity. Okay, blessed be, guys. I'll just share this view with you.